Okay, so National Family Health Survey has released data in which they talk about how every third women in India have the history of facing physical violence at home. So 27% of women in India have definitely said that from the age of 15, they have experienced some form of physical violence. So physical violence is generally considered to be more common in rural India than in urban area, probably because it is noticed vividly, and in urban India, it is not noticed so much because we don't care to find out about many people in the cities and they hide their problems. Whereas in rural India, it becomes public quickly. Domestic violence cases or reports of physical abuse have been noted everywhere in India. So there is no exceptional part of India where there is no case of domestic violence. On an average, 29% in rural area and 23% in urban area. Okay, so that way, this is one of the things that we have to be careful of. That there are a lot of cases unreported when it comes to the field of domestic violence in India. Every third of a married woman, that means for every 3 women married, 1 woman have experienced spousal violence, physical injuries. 8% have suffered eye injuries or sprain or dislocation or burns. 6% of them have deep wounds or broken bones or broken teeth. So because of these deep wounds, they have gone to clinic or hospital to report or to get treatment. So only then you find that there is a case sheet that has been created for the women. They might not have filed a case against their husband, but the doctors who treat them have the duty to write down if they feel that this is an incident of domestic abuse. But only 14% of women who have experienced physical violence say that they would like to take the help or support of law in order to stop the violence. So violence is not very uncommon in India. For women who are not married, you find that the other people at home themselves are perpetrators of violence. Sometimes it is the parents against their children. Okay, sometimes it is mother or father or brothers, or you have siblings, your sisters. Sometimes even at the school, teachers and headmasters. So there are a lot of physical violence that have been observed by these people in their life. So that's one thing we can understand, that domestic violence is very common in India. Teachers who come to home, sorry, it cannot be at school, it is at home, tuition teachers or some teachers who come to home, they also beat up the children. So that way it is considered to be domestic violence. Okay, so women in India generally do not want to come forward to complain about domestic violence. Okay, a lot of women in the age of 40 to 49, that means they are elder to you all, they all feel that a minimum level of domestic violence is allowed. So there are you ask people what is allowed at home. Can I be slapped one time in my lifetime, or I have done a mistake, so I got angry and my father slapped me, I made a mistake, or I did not cook well, or I did not put salt in my food, or I dropped something very precious and broke it. So because of that, my parents have slapped me or my husbands have slapped me. So when you give a list of questionnaires like this, many of them start to justify domestic violence. Okay, so as an educated individual, we need to understand that you can forgive a person for committing violence against you, but do not justify the violence itself. Okay, so your sister has slapped you, you cannot take divorce from your sister, but you have to tell her that this is a domestic violence and you do not appreciate such a thing happening to you against your, whether your brother is doing that, your husband is doing that, or your boyfriend is doing that. It is essential that we need to label it as violence. and you have recognized it, and you do not appreciate that being done to you, when you don't stop it at the initial stage, then what happens? It becomes into a larger legal problem. So many women in India tend to support some form of domestic violence, thinking that it is allowed. It is the right of the father or right of the husband to condition or to groom their own wife. So some lot of excuses come up in the time. So they start justifying abuse. So that's one shocking thing that has come about India. So there are a lot of cases in India. A lot of women groups started appealing that we need to have a legislation that would help us to tackle this problem of domestic violence. So Government of India came out with this legislation. So I expect you to read through the legislation, and if there are any questions, you can ask me and we can have a discussion. So it is mainly to protect the rights of the women, which are guaranteed by the Constitution. If they are victims of violence, they need to be addressed, and then there's some kind of a solution has to be brought forward on how to tackle the domestic violence. So this act was the first attempt made to define what is domestic violence. It can be physical abuse. Many of us do not know the difference of abuse and violence and types of violences. So physical abuse would mean any kind of body pain that I suffer from, a harm or a danger, or I lose a limb, or my health is affected because somebody kicked me in my stomach. Either I get gynecological problem, or I get a kidney problem or liver problem. There are so many things that do happen, and women are not able to label it. So it can create not just a one-day issue, it can also create a long-time health issue for women. So these are all things that the government needs to address when it comes to types of abuse. So they have explained on what is physical abuse. So beating, slapping, or hitting, or punching, or shoving them. So all that will come under that. You are a student, you need to understand what is physical abuse. Unless you label it, you will not know that it is an abuse. So from young age, children also need to be taught they should not tolerate any of these things. They should not practice any of these things. These are all not the symbol of love or friendship. These are all abuse. Beating and slapping and hitting are all abuse, and you should have the courtesy to apologize. Even if you have done it friendly manner, it is not allowed to do so. Okay, that is one is physical abuse. The second is sexual abuse, which is of any kind of sexual nature, misconduct of a sexual nature. You are abusing a body, you are abusing a person, humiliating a person by name calling, or by touching them, or criticizing them, or commenting on their body parts. Your mouth is pretty, or you have such a huge mouth, or you have such a thing. So when you say, even in the form of appreciation, it is not considered to be appreciation. If you're telling, if you and me do not have a relationship, and why you need to talk about my body parts in front of lot of people. So you need to be very much aware in your workplace also that you don't appreciate anybody by their body parts, whether or criticize anybody by their body parts, unless they are your family member. Even then it can be considered as an abuse. Same way, verbal and emotional abuse is also very common. We are all influenced by media sometimes, and in media people are casually use a lot of terms which are abuse. We do not understand that, and we also start practicing those forms of abuse. So under the Domestic Violence Act, this also can be considered as one of the abuses: insulting a person, or humiliating the person, or body shaming a person, or ridiculing a person, whether you are a male or a female, or whether you are creating any kind of physical pain. You have to understand that abuse can also be just oral. You have not touched them, you have not hit them, but constantly through your words, you are insulting a person, repeatedly causing harm to their mind. So then it will be considered as emotional abuse. So these are types of emotional abuse that are also very common. So some children will say, I will not go to school, or I will not attend such a class. My teacher is very abusive. See, I can tell you what is my expectation, and I can tell you that you are supposed to fulfill the expectation. But I cannot say that it is your generation, or I cannot say this is how your parents have brought you up. This shows about your culture. This shows about your native region. I should not drag your heritage or culture into my commentary on your performance in my class. So there's a line that I should not cross. So that is also considered to be an emotional violence. So unless you identify that this is an abuse and I shall not take it, you cannot stop that from happening to yourself or happening to another person. So that's what this is. Awareness is necessary, and you may not be ready to take up a job, or you may not be ready to take up a responsibility, or get onto the stage program and show your talent on the stage, because you have been ridiculed in the past, that you cannot overcome that barrier, and you are still you are still remembering the abuse that you have gone through, right? So that way, there are a lot of abuse that is there in your own family. They sometimes force you to get married to person whom you don't like, or they keep threatening you that they will commit suicide, so that you are under emotional blackmail, and you have to fulfill some of the desires of your family members even though you don't like it. So all that can be considered as verbal abuse. Then comes the category of economic abuse, where I am not given something or something is taken away from me. So both ways, deprivation of financial resources, or forcibly they take away things from myself. There are families which lock even their food grains, sugar, tea, coffee, milk, fridge, everything will be locked and kept. Key will be in the hand of one person. So the other female in the house should wait for this person to come and disperse of things. Can you imagine a household like that, where even your basic food materials have to be taken from another individual? It's unimaginable for me, but I have seen a household where there is key in every cupboard, storage, food storage, and there is a person who comes and measures the rice and gives, measures the wheat and gives, or something like that. So there's a system. So that system is actually abuse, that I am not able to use, or I am not able to take what I want to when I want to. So that can also be considered to be a deprivation of financial resources. Water, I will not be allowed to access water, or I will not be able to access money, or I will not be able to sell my property, or I will not be able to buy a property in my name. All that also can come under economic abuse. So you have some kind of restriction on the access to resources and facilities, then it becomes economic abuse. So that way also a person need to be aware of types of abuses in order to address the issue properly. Okay, so what you need to do is, what is the act is also telling, is you first raise your voice, say that it is an abuse, talk to your friends, or talk to police, or file an FIR. That is what the act wants you to do. Go to the nearest police station and file the first information report, and take the help of the Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act. So according to this legislation, every district should have a special interest officer who has to register complaints of domestic violence, or you can straight away go to district magistrate court, and you can also file a case if you want remedies from this domestic violence, Prevention of Domestic Violence Act. So that's what this short version of it. Women can walk out of the houses, file the case, and they can ask for shelter homes, and the officer has to make arrangement of it, or they can seek for medical facilities, they can seek for protection. So that way, this Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act was a much needed legislation in India, and after a lot of demand and long history of demands, this act had come into existence. Okay, so we can ask for right to live in the same household. Nobody can send me out out of my house, whether it is my parental property or whether it's my husband and me living in the house. Even if I'm getting abused, I have the right to seek residence in the same household. I can ask magistrate to issue protection order. I can ask the district official to give an protection to me, or they have to arrange a shelter home to me, and I can seek for full custody rights of my children. Such way you find this legislation tried to look at it in 360 degrees so that the rights of the women can be protected. So Protection of Women Against Domestic Violence Act 2005 is considered to be a milestone in the history of women empowerment, because for the first time Government of India started to recognize domestic violence as a violation of human rights. Okay, if an outsider violates you, everybody knows that it is a violence. But if it is your own brother or your uncle or your own friends, you who are supposed to protect you, abuse you, then that was not recognized by law before 2005. So this is a civil law, civil in theory, but criminal in practice. So that way it is orienting both the, giving both civil remedies and criminal remedies. And this is thankfully not connected to a religion. So my religion does not matter whether I am Hindu, Christian or Muslim. Domestic Violence Act is applicable to all of us, which is very rare in India. Then it tries to overcome the lacunas of the previous legislations. So that way we can demand for compensation and support through this legislation. Okay, so domestic violence has been covered for the first time through this legislation, and women can start access to justice through this. Okay, so this has been uploaded, the material has been uploaded in LMS. So kindly go through it and then let me know what you do not understand or what are some of the doubts that you have regarding this legislation.